all rise for pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please continue to stand. I was just told that there was a stabbing of 19 students in Pittsburgh today. I don't know many details, and I'm sorry, but some of the students were badly injured. I don't even know where some of them were killed. No? Okay. So if we could just have a moment of silence for the schools in Pittsburgh. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back home. It's good to be back in here for a change. All right. Adoption of agenda for regular meeting. Under provisions of the public meeting law of the state of Missouri, the board must adopt by roll call vote an agenda that includes the date, time, place, and tentative agenda for the meeting. A copy of the notice and agenda for this meeting was posted on Monday, April 7, 2014, at the Administration Center, 1005 Waterford Drive, Florissant, Missouri. At the same time, copies of the notice and agenda were mailed to major radio stations, radio and television stations, to 4 newspapers, and to municipalities, schools, and the district, and posted on the district website. I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Hogshead and seconded by Mr. Martinez to adopt the open meeting agenda. Mr. Spo.
Mr. Ebert.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Schrader.
Aye.
Ms. Hogshead. Ms. Hogshead.
Aye. Yeah, didn't you want the other?
Secretary votes aye. Mr. Martinez.
Aye.
And Mr. Morris.
Aye. Adoption of agenda for a closed meeting. Section 610.021 of Missouri laws provides for a discussion of certain agenda items in closed session. The meeting for the proposed closed session meeting includes the agenda item to be discussed was posted. The board, by roll call vote, authorized holding the closed meeting and approve the proposed agenda by reference to each subject to be discussed. The agenda for the closed meeting is legal, section 610.021, and personnel, section 610.021.3.
So moved.
Been moved by Ms. Hogshead, seconded by Mr. Martinez. Mr. Spo.
Mr. Ebert.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Schrader.
Aye.
Ms. Hogshead.
Aye.
Secretary votes aye. Mr. Martinez. And Mr. Morris.
Aye. Well, tonight we have Ferguson Middle School and the night at the museum. We have some performers that are going to come up.
Good evening, Mr. President and the board. April is the annual Black History and Women's History Month report. We thought it would be a good idea for the board to see live, one way, how the district celebrates the months. Students from Ferguson Middle School will perform a series of short skits highlighting the contributions of African Americans and women to history. Ferguson Middle School holds their annual Night at the Museum in early March to bridge the 2 historically themed months. Mrs. Carolyn Cook here. She is here. She represents the social studies teachers at Ferguson Middle School and 3 Ferguson Middle students, if you would come forward. Cynthia Nathan will be the character Annie Bonnet. Alexandra Taylor will be Tina Turner, and Tony Merrick will be the history of gospel music.
There's not much in the books about me. Not many articles either. It's rare to find pretty much anything about me. My name is Anne Bonny, and some would say I was one of the greatest pirates who had ever lived. My story starts way back on the 8th of March in 1702 in Kinsale, Ireland. My father, William Cormac, was a very, very successful lawyer, but he was a dog. He had an affair with his housemaid, Mary Brennan, and she became my illegitimate mother. Feeling his career was threatened by this, he picked up and moved to the New World, with my mother and I, of course. But the trip was hard on her. Soon after we arrived in Charleston, South Carolina, she died. My father tried to establish himself as an attorney, but he failed horribly. So, to save face, he went into the merchant business and obtained a substantial fortune. I grew up as his trophy, but I was one of those rich, wild childs. Bad-tempered, easily enraged, and hard to control. When I was 13, I stabbed a serving girl with a kitchen knife. She looked at me funny. I didn't like it. When I was 16, I was rebellious, and I was in love. So, against my father's wishes, of course, I had to marry the poor sailor and small-time pirate named James Bonney. In 1718, we moved to New Providence Island. It was sort of a pirate sanctuary. Governor Woodes Rogers was offering a king's pardon to those who turned informant. My husband, my James, openly sold out other pirates to save his own tail. I was disgusted by his cowardice. I decided to go to Cuba for a while to get away. And there, I met a dashing young fellow by the name of Calico Jack Rackman. I became his mistress. We had a son in Cuba who soon took the name Cunningham. I had to leave him there. It was very sad, but I knew better than anyone that the seas were no place for a child. Around the same time, I met a new friend. She was raised as a boy from birth, so the business of piracy suited her very well. Her name was Mary Reed. Reed, my new husband, Calico Jack, and I had our own ship now, the Revenge. We had recruited our own crew and brought in small vessels, small but significant. We had brought in just enough treasure to keep us happy. In 1720, our ship was invaded by a king's ship, captained by Jonathan Barnett. All the other men were too drunk to fight, full of wine from the night before. Reed and I were the only two men enough to fight. Ironic, because we were the only two women. My last words to my imprisoned husband were, if you had fought like a man, you needn't be hanged like a dog. Reed and I pleaded our bellies, saying that both of us were pregnant, but she died of a fever in prison, unable to give birth. My father bailed me out, and I remarried to a man named Joseph Barlang in Charleston, South Carolina. We had 10 children. Some would say my story ended on April 22nd, 1782, but my story will never end. My legacy will live on. The legendary Anne Bonny will live on forever.
I was one of the most effective women in the music industry. My songs touched souls and my performances changed lives. Though I had a successful career, I lived in abuse from my husband Ike for many years. You could say I was a fool in love. I, Anne Mae Bullock, was born on November 26 in 1939 to Floyd and Zelma Bullock. I wasn't ever real quiet as a child though. I had a voice, a big one, waiting to escape me. So I sang at stories and I got pennies, nickels, and even half dollars. The first time I met Ike is because I had reunited with my mother at my mama Georgie's funeral, and she taken me to live with her in St. Louis. Well, it wasn't too long later, Aileen was dragging me to the nightclubs where her boyfriend Gene, the drummer in Ike and the Rhythm Brothers, had gigs in. First time I saw Ike, I thought, God, he's ugly. But he could play that guitar. When I saw how his hand caressed the neck, the way his fingers strummed the strings, oh, I was just amazed. He could play, but he sure was ugly. Well, incidentally, I started singing for Ike. After recording one of our biggest hits, A Fool in Love, he came to me with this crazy idea for us to go to California together. Well, when I came to him claiming I wasn't going anywhere with him in this relationship or to California, he practically laughed in my face before beating me for the first time. Poe and you may couldn't know any better, right? Well, then Ike did the best thing for me without even realizing it. He introduced me to Valerie Bishop, a pretty Jewish woman who gave me a deep insight to Nichiren social Buddhism. She gave me the beads you chant with, a book, and the words I uttered for the rest of my life. Nam Ye Ho Ringe Kyo, a chant that eventually built up enough courage for me to leave Ike. On a ride to the Hilton in Dallas, I finally gained up enough courage to fight Ike back during one of his beatings. Now, I've been building up to this moment for a long, long time. You see, I had long had the worst of Ike's licks. He had from burning hot coffee burns and to multiple beatings. I was through. So when he was passed out on his bed, I looked at him and I thought, that was the last time you beat me, you sucker. Then I fled from Ike and his bruised, mean fist. I didn't even bother to change my bloody clothes or even put on a wig. Well, then I transitioned to my solo career. You may know my Disco Inferno act with my popular song, Burn Baby Burn. But with the help of Roger Davies, I gathered the remnants of my destroyed career and built it back together, brick by brick, song by song. My rendition of Let's Stay Together sent chills up people's spine. My rough runs on What's Love Got to Do With It made people's feet tap and their hearts race. I, Annie Mae Bullock, sit on what feels like the top of the world. Buddhism taught me to be a positive thinker and even to work harder. I've won several Grammy Awards, an NAACP award, and am a Kennedy Center honoree. I was even offered the starring role in The Color Purple, which I turned down. I'll live that story, honey. I, Tina Turner, am one of the most sensational women in music history. And baby, you better believe I will never stop rocking.
Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Since the beginning of time, our world has been enriched with the powers of different types of music. Out of all of those, I am known to be one of the oldest and most soulful. Since 1619, I have been in the hearts of people all over the world. My peaceful yet strong sound is known to open eyes and enlighten hearts. My powerful yet spiritual message is said to be the one coming with open arms. Who am I, you ask? I am the history of gospel music. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Music? How can someone be the history of any type of music? Well, let me tell you a story. As I stated before, I was born in 1619. I suppose my siblings would be the other types of music. Although we have different parents, we have used each other's influences at one time or another in our music. However, I was not born to a piano, guitar, or a violin. My life began with the voice of the slaves. They heard songs that the people in the church were singing and made them their own. Some of these songs were Amazing Grace, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, and Go Down Moses. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. Now, we reach the mid-1940s to the mid-1960s, known as the Golden Age of Gospel. We hear new renditions of old classic songs like Amazing Grace, as well as new artists arriving onto the scene. One of these artists was Mahalia Jackson. Mahalia Jackson is known to be the greatest gospel singer of all time. She was gospel's first million seller and the first gospel artist ever to be signed by a record label. Some of her top songs include Moving Up a Little Higher, In the Upper Room, and Trouble of the World. Why should I feel discouraged? And why should the shadows come? today's age, we hear new, fresh music that is more appealing to the younger audience. One huge contributor to this idea is Kirk Franklin. Franklin grew up in a poor part of Texas, but is known to be a child prodigy when it comes to singing and playing the piano. Silver and gold, silver and gold, I'd rather have Jesus than silver and gold. Do you like my story? Well, it's not over yet. My message will reach every heart on this earth. For over 2,000 years, I've been here, and I don't plan to go anywhere. However, if I do go somewhere, and someone asks you where I went, then tell them that I'm going up yonder. If you want to know where I'm going, yes, I'm going up yonder. I'm going up yonder. I'm going up yonder.
And that was just a sample of how wonderful Nidus Museum is. This is my first year to go, and I normally work on a Thursday night, but I had spring break for junior college this year, and so I got to attend, and it was a wonderful experience for me. So thank you all for coming tonight. That was great. This portion of the meeting is allocated to the board to provide an update of current activities and events in the district that may be of special interest to the board members and the community. Mr. Ebert. Nothing. Why, it's not often that happens. Mark that on your calendar, would you, Mr. Overdo? Okay. Mr. Brown.
I had an opportunity to go to McClure. They had the last week the Honor Society, the induction of the kids into the Honor Society, and it was tough not to be so proud of them. Their parents just were in heaven watching these 32, 33 kids, students being inducted into that. Just a terrific evening, and we have much to be proud of in this district. And they had McClure last week showed why we are so proud of them and all our district.
Mr. Schrader?
I have just two items. The one is been asked several times about legal fees, and the budget for the year, which will end at the end of June, was $95,000, and as of the end of February, we have spent $100,152. I'll get that out there if there's still questions about that. The other thing is Saturday is a very big day if you're a Little Creek fan. Come on out, everybody's invited. You have absolutely no previous experience required. We're pulling honeysuckle. We're working on getting rid of an invasive species that has done quite a bit of damage to that area. And this is an ongoing process. If you really get hooked like me, we'll sign you up and you get to work all the time. But this is a great fun activity. There's all kinds of things for kids and adults from 8 to noon at Little Creek. And it's really a fun morning, and it looks like the weather is going to be great, and it should be a real good time. So you're all invited to come out and pull a little honeysuckle.
Ms. Oxett?
Is that, Mr. Hadley, is that then also the 26th will be Earth Day at Little Creek, since we're talking about Little Creek?
Yes, perfect, thank you, yes. So Saturday will be honeysuckle pulling and getting rid of that invasive species out there from 8 to 12. We'll have Starbucks and goodies for you there too for free. And then the 26th, we'll have a run at 7:30 or a walk around the trails, and then 8 to 12 all morning long we'll have activities for children to adults, and we'll get to tour some of the farm animals there too.
Well, spring has sprung, and with spring came the election yesterday, and I want to, I see Dr. Thurman back there, congratulate her for joining our team, and also congratulate Mr. Chabot and Mr. Morris for being reelected. Today was a perfect example of a beautiful spring day. And with spring comes renewal, and with renewal and with the election, I am just so looking forward to wonderful things going on. Today was this evening was a perfect example with Ferguson Middle, and it looks like we have some celebrate children, students here tonight. So, as others have mentioned, I'm really excited about what the new year brings for the Ferguson-Florissant School District. So, thank you all for being part of that.
I really don't have anything to report district-wise. I've been kind of preoccupied over the last few weeks. But I do want to thank everybody who believed in me and supported me for my re-election, and it's going to be an honor to continue serving this district. So, thank you.
Mr. Martinez, one last time.
Well, likewise, congratulations to all three elected candidates. I want to thank everyone for the last 3 years. I've really enjoyed serving. It's been my honor. You're not getting rid of me quite that easy. I will be around in a number of ways. So sorry, Christy. But I'm very much looking forward to a new and challenging role as a dad, but also as an engaged citizen in the community. So thank you, all of you, for your service. Thanks to the administrative staff and all of the staff, teachers, bus drivers, everybody in between. It takes a team effort, and there really are great things happening here. So keep it up.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Chris Martinez will be sorely missed on the board. His humor, his insight into problems and issues is invaluable to us, and I'll truly miss that. So, Dr. Thurman, would you stand up so everybody can see you? There's our newest board member. People, come on April the 23rd. 7 o'clock. Here, this one's cutting out on me for some reason tonight. April 20th. Hello? Hello? April 23rd, you'll come aboard, 7 o'clock. We'll meet here in the boardroom, and we will. That'll be the only thing on the agenda that night, by the way. So it's just a reorganization on the 23rd. We have to wait until the votes are certified, and that takes 2 weeks, so that's why I won't have it. I, like Mr. Chabot, have been kind of preoccupied the last few weeks with the election, and I really, really want to thank everybody that showed their support and came out and helped and believed in me and believed in Rob and Dr. Thurman as well. I know she has her supporters, and we look forward to a new day starting in a couple of weeks. So I appreciate all your help and thank you. And it is an honor to serve on the board, and I take that humbly. Thank you. Ms. McDougall? Oh, I got one more thing. Hang on just a moment. Just a moment. Newsflash. No. We have a proclamation on the School Library Month of April 2014. Whereas the school library program is to ensure that students and staff are efficient users of ideas and information. And whereas the school's librarian's role is to provide leadership and experience or expertise necessary to ensure that the library's program is integral part of the instructional program of the school. And whereas the Board of Education has entrusted the school librarians in each school to teach the skills to locate and using information throughout traditional resources and new technology, to provide literature appreciation activities, and to guide and encourage content and recreational reading to every student. And whereas lifelong learning begins and is systematically developed through the school library curriculum of elementary and secondary schools. And whereas the library program contributes to individual growth and development of all students while fostering both intelligence and equality in education. And whereas the school librarians of the Ferguson-Florissant School District have dedicated themselves to work for quality library programs for all students. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Ferguson-Florissant School District does hereby proclaim April 2014 as School Library Month in all schools, and calls upon school administrators, teachers, students, and citizens of the district to recognize and support this action, and to participate throughout the month of April in the celebration of School Library Month. Period. That's the first period in the sentence there. So, obviously, an English teacher did not write this run-on sentence. So, I want to thank. And speaking of librarians, Miss McDougall, you want to come up?
Are there any librarians in the audience? Could they
Miss
stand
McDougall.
beside Miss McDougall?
Sure. Yes.
Hello. On behalf of all the librarians in the district, thank you very much. I know they're going to appreciate it. I know I do. As the FFNEA president currently, we'll be seeing Frank in a couple of months. Go Frank. I want to say that we finished negotiations at the able leadership of Ms. Semmelman and Mr. Stevens, thanking them both, and worked very well with the administrative team. Everything went well. And also want to say that we've all been working very hard on all of the new initiatives, and it's difficult to get all of this under our belt, but everybody is working on it. There's a concentrated effort, lots of cooperation, I think, and Common Core is quite a challenge, but I think we're going to meet it. And I wanted to say thank you to everybody who's contributed to that, because all the teachers are involved in that. All of our employees are involved in one way or another. Everyone we represent has a stake in this, in our students, in our community. Thank you.
Mr. LaRue.
Good evening. We have a number of events coming up in the district that we'd like to share with you. Our third annual STEM Expo. It's a great educational family event showcasing our district's focus on science, technology, engineering, and math. That will be held this coming Tuesday at McClure High School in the hub from 5 p.m. Starting at 5 p.m. It will run from 5 to 7, I believe. The Child Development Centers will host their 7th Trivia Night this Friday, April 11th. Anyone that's interested in attending can visit the district website at fergflor.org for registration information. April 23rd, all juniors in the district will take the ACT test at no charge to the students. Student participation in this test is one of the ways our district is measured for accreditation. So this is one of the things we are doing as a district this year to improve our score on a state assessment. The McClure Marching Band under the direction of Curtis Schroyer, will again represent Ferguson-Florissant in this year's Valley of the Flowers Grand Parade on Sunday. Oh, did I say, if I almost said McClure, I apologize. McClure North, yes. That's on Sunday, May 4th. And the final comment, if I may. Your interest and involvement in the Ferguson-Florissant School District and its schools is vital. And thank you. That's all I have.
Very good, thank you. Sure. Audience participation. The board allocates this portion of the meeting for audience participation regarding items listed on this evening's agenda. Members of the audience who wish to speak to the board agenda are requested to speak from the podium, identify themselves, and limit their remarks to 3 minutes. In keeping with District Policy 4054 and 4059 of Personnel Law, speakers should refrain from making negative comments that are personally identifiable. According to policy, the board will not respond to public comments. Time is allocated at the end of the public session for suggestions and/or questions from the audience on any subject not on tonight's agenda. Please identify items 7 through 17 that you will be addressing. Who would like to speak tonight? Is anybody? That's the first in a long time. So, thank you. Thank you. Next, Ms. Joyce. Ms. Samuelman, 2014-15 school year calendar.
Mr. Morris,
Yes.
since we are trying to save money and I'm freezing to death, could we turn the air conditioning
Sure.
I see everybody under their t-shirts.
All right, where's Mr. O'Neill? He's in charge of facilities here. We'll put him in charge of the thermostat. How's that?
I couldn't see him back there. I was looking for somebody to give a nod.
Qualified as I am.
Thank you, Mr. O'Neill. Fine job. Ms. Joyce.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, members of the Board of Education. Tonight I present a second reading of the 2014-2015 student attendance and teacher work calendar. The calendar is part of the negotiation packet. However, we needed to have a second reading formally before the Board of Education. This second calendar is modified from the original, which was presented in December as a result of the 2014 negotiation package. I did want to point out on the colored calendar in April, the comments at the bottom for April 3rd and April 6th should be switched. So the colored portion of the calendar is correct, and we'll make that change when we produce this copy for the public and for the employees.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions, or we need a motion to accept?
I move we accept.
And moved by Ms. Hogshead and seconded by Mr. Martinez to accept the 2014-15 school year calendar. Is there any discussion?
I know I've asked this before. How many snow days are built in now?
Not enough.
I know, but
We have built in 6
okay.
snow days.
That's what's required by the state, is that correct?
Yes.
And how are those snow days built in?
The snow days are built in, and they are also part of the negotiation package. And I can identify those dates for you if you would like me to. They are the May 27th,
May 26th, May 27th, May 28th, April 3rd, May 29th, April 6th, in that order.
So basically, we are over the state required number of days for student attendance, so we identify days that we will make up on our current calendar, and then if additional days need to be added, which we have done so. And we will place those snow days on the calendar so the public knows if we have to make up days, those will be the days.
Thank you.
And if you could, just for the benefit of the students, let them know when school's going to start next year?
Yes, students, school will start August the 14th.
What day is that?
That is a Thursday.
You got something that day?
You've asked me.
He's already got it booked.
That day doesn't work for him.
Can you make spring break?
Any further discussion? All those in favor of accepting the calendar, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Guess you got a calendar. Next is negotiation package.
I would
Ms. Joyce.
like to invite Lord Samuelman up to the podium with me. During the 2014 negotiation process, the administration and association negotiated district policies and procedures to address several areas to improve operations and communication within the school district. Enclosed in your board packet was a comprehensive list of the policies recommended by the administration and association as agreements for the 2014-15 school year. Part of the negotiation packet, again, was the student attendance and teacher work calendar, which you just approved. And on behalf of the administrative team, we would like to thank the Board of Education for allowing us to negotiate on your behalf, and thank the association for their collaboration and cooperation and leadership throughout this process. And I would like to ask Lori Samuelman if she has anything to say to the Board of Education this evening.
For those of you who participated, it was a very positive experience this year. We had a lot of tough things to tackle. The state gave us many things we had to meet, but I think we made it through relatively unscathed, so I thank you.
Amy and Lori, having...
Need a motion.
I move we accept the negotiations package.
Been moved by Mrs. Hogshead and seconded by Mr. Ebert. We accept the negotiation packet. Now, Mr. Brown.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that. Procedure. Yeah. He corrected me. Having the opportunity of sitting in with you, Mr. Ebert and myself, I just want to thank you for the fabulous job that all of you did, and that we have come to a conclusion about it, and everybody's intact, and that's terrific. Thank you so much.
Ferguson-Florissant really is a model of what a good collaborative team can look like.
I was also part of the negotiations.
I was just going to say that. I want to thank Leslie because she filled in for me. I had a personal emergency in my family, so the last week, I guess it was around a week. And
He bathed in the sun.
Yeah. But it was an awesome experience. This is my second year in a row, and it seems to be getting better and better. So, just shows the cooperation. Everybody's trying to pitch in to make this district the best it can be, and just going places we haven't been before. So my hat's off to both of you. I mean, this is, and the organization and the administrative team were just great. What do you think?
That's what I was going to say. I think it was the most positive and the calmest negotiating process that I've ever seen. There might have been on either side on the inside, but when we were all together, it was very calm and very, very good to watch. So I thank you both and the entire teams. Both of them.
One of the procedures that the board put in place 3 years ago was that if you were up for election that year, you couldn't be on negotiations team, so there wouldn't be any hard feelings and that sort of stuff. And so for the past 2 years, I've been on the negotiation team, and obviously this year I wasn't. And I missed what I felt was a very good experience, and I'm glad that everything went smoothly, and I really appreciate that. And I know the rest of the board is excited, and to get a 94% approval rating from the staff is outstanding. So that just tells you the hard work that they went in and did. So thank you very much for that.
How soon will the policy procedure manual be updated in case there's individuals in the audience or public who wants to review it?
Those that are affecting the next school year, obviously, they will be effective July 1. Policies that are approved by the board are effective upon approval. So we will go ahead and update these online as soon as we can.
And along those same lines, I'd like to point out that as a change from last year, our teachers will be moving a step on the salary scale. It's been a very difficult time. 3 years ago, frozen. 2 years ago, we raised the base some and got the step. Last year, frozen again. That's very difficult for our staff to work with. That's really an unpleasant situation for everybody. As we've heard and talked a lot recently, there's a lot of fiscal difficulties that we're facing and looking at, and I feel that what we're doing here is making it's not a leap of faith, but certainly a leap of optimism that we're committing between our sick day buyback for our retiring teachers and our step for our continuing teachers. We're committing about $1.8 million, and that's something that we have to dig out of our balances, and it's something that has to focus us on the August election that we agreed to last month for a tax levy. I know we're very glad to be over with an election. That's always a nice night to finally get finished with that, but we really do need to look forward to August. The $4 million that will bring in when we pass that will be very helpful, but we have to recognize we've already committed about 1.8 of that $4 million. And so that doesn't solve our problem completely. And school financing is difficult. I know in one of the sessions with candidates, one can say, wow, I didn't realize that. But even if we pass the tax levy in August, no money comes into the district until January of 2015. And when you hear about the wonderful economy and houses are selling and values are going up, that's wonderful. Unfortunately, we will not get a dime from any reassessment until January of 2016. That's 20 months. And so I'm really glad to see the settlement happen. I'm really pleased to see how we're working together, and I'm hoping we'll continue that as we move towards August 5th. I forget exactly the day, but I'm sure it will get burned into my memory pretty quickly. Thank you.
Any other comments? All those in favor of accepting the negotiating package, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. There you go. Thank you. Consent agenda. The administration presents the following items for consent agenda. Under the consent agenda. Mr. Chabot, would you read the disbursements?
Payroll, teacher and non-teacher is $6,900,038.34. Operational disbursements of $1,555,552.90 for a grand total of $8,455,591.24.
Need a motion for the consent agenda?
I move we accept.
Second.
And moved by Mr. Schrader and seconded by Mr. Ebert to accept the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. There you go. And there's Mr. Bowledge spending our money again. Grant money though, so that's good. That's good. Building level progress. Dr. Bland.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening, board members. At this time, we have 3 elementary principals who will be presenting initiatives from their building. And we're going to first start with Ms. Poole. If she could come up from Parker Road, please give her a round of
And I'll try to stay behind the podium, but I'm not really a podium person, so if that's okay with everybody. Well, good evening. Thank you, Mr. President, board members, Mr. LaRue, Dr. and Dr. Bland for giving me this opportunity to come and talk about one of the great initiatives that I feel is unique to Parker Road this year, and something that we have actually been working on for 2 years. So this is our second year working with this initiative through UMSL. So a little bit about what this is. We have partnered with UMSL, and this is a new form of their teacher preparation program, their student teacher program. So for those of you that don't really know what that typically looks like, with student teaching and a teacher preparation program, typically student teacher candidates will come to a building and spend about 8 weeks in one classroom and then about 8 weeks in a second classroom, and that is their experience. But what UMSL has done, and we have been lucky enough to be part of that for 2 years, is they have modeled what is called a studio schools for learning. And so what that is, it is a differentiated staffing model. So what that means for us is that we now have 14 UMSL interns, and they have been in our building. 7 of them, they will be graduating in May, and they have been with us for a year, and they started out just like certified staff members, and they have been all over the building. So they have received tons of different experiences for what they are going to be facing when they get into the world of their careers and their professions and what education is really about. And we've also gotten to use them and their talents and skills to help progress our students and what we need to do with our staff and professional development. So am I clicking this or is someone else? There's only 3. Okay. So once again, when you look at this slide, there's only a couple of slides. So this is more of a differentiated staffing plan. And so what that looks like is we basically have 14 more certified teachers in our building that have pretty much everything coming to us with all of their experience minus their student teaching. They work in the school as a faculty member from day one. So they are introduced right along with our new staff. So for example, this year I hired 7 new teachers in my building, and these interns came in just like the new staff members did. They went through O Week with everyone. They were part of all of the beginning of the year events. They were part of open house. The parents got to know them. We sent letters home about who these people were. So they were integrated right along with our regular staff members. They are involved in all of the planning. So they are involved in all of our data team meetings. They are involved in all of our grade level meetings, staff meetings, PBIS meetings, all of the committee meetings that we have at building level. They are all involved in all of that, just as they would be coming in as a first-year teacher. Their expectations are exactly the same as a certified teacher. And we make sure that we hold them to that because we are getting them ready to possibly come and work in our schools in this district. And we need the best teachers that we can get. And I think that I'm really passionate about this program, so I've worked a lot with UMSL with their teacher preparation because that's where it starts. Teachers getting a good education before they come into our schools is so important and it's so key because we don't always have the time to teach them things that maybe they didn't get during their student teaching. And so these people could possibly become working in our buildings and our schools across the district. And so it is really, really, really important that these teachers are ready for what this is really like. I know when I was student teaching, I sat in the same room for 8 weeks and I got what I got, and I sat in another room for 8 weeks, and then when I went to my first teaching job, I really wasn't prepared. I really didn't know what it was all about. And so I think that these 14 individuals being a part of what we do, not just when you're sitting in back of a classroom and watching a teacher, but they're part of the behind the scenes. They take it home with them at night just like we do. And I think that it gives them a really good understanding of what this profession is really all about. And it also gives us 14 more people to work with our kids and to help pull, we are able to pull teachers out, and I'm able to do professional development for free with my staff while I have interns working with children. And so it has really benefited us, not only with student progress, but also with our fiscal situation, because I really have not had to spend much money for subs or for professional development because we've really been able to use these interns well this year. They work in group settings. They work a lot with enrichment groups. Something else these interns are good at is they sometimes work with the higher level students with enrichment, while our master teachers work with some of the lower struggling students, and that has really benefited us as well. And they also receive all of the professional development that our certified teachers receive during the school year. These are just some more things that they've been involved in this year in our school. Special ed, a lot of times in the normal, typical student teaching that you go through, if you get a chance to possibly sit in an IEP, that's a bonus. But with our interns, they are involved in the process from beginning to end. They're involved with the evaluation process, with sitting with parents, with looking at documents, looking at goals, looking at a diagnosis, and what goals the students have to reach to stay in compliance. So those are all things that they're getting, and once again, keeping in the back of your mind that these are the people that we may employ someday and that we hope to employ. So I'm sort of growing our own teachers to bring them back into our school districts. They're guest teachers in our school, like I said. They're involved with all of the professional development that we do, so they are ready to go when they walk out of the gate, when they graduate. They are learning a lot about data-driven instruction, and that you can't just create a lesson plan and think that it's just going to go. They are learning how to research, and they're learning how to navigate the DESE website. So they're learning all of those things that they probably would not get in a typical student teaching setting. They also do case studies, and so they pick out specific students and work one-on-one with students. And over the last 2 years, we have charted data, and we have charted the progress of those students, and we have certainly seen an increase of about 12% of students that the interns have been working with. So they are certainly making a difference. And I know that we have a lot of staff here. And we actually have a lot of staff here. If you're Parker Road staff, yay, there's a lot of parents here too. They have just been incredible with this, because this was really difficult last year when we were approached by UMSL and asked if we wanted to partner with them in this program. Because having 7 people in your building is hard sometimes. And sometimes, you know, the teachers were put into positions where it might have seemed like a little bit more work than what they normally would be asked to do, and it was. But I think that they were just as passionate about getting good teachers to come back into our schools. And so I was really, really proud of the way that our teachers handled this program. They've really went above and beyond with these interns to make them feel at home. And I know that most of the interns that we have in our building, they want to be at Parker Road. They don't want to leave. They want to come back and work in this district, and that's what we need. We need good teachers to want to continue to be in this district as we move forward. Relationship building, we are also running a Girls on the Run program, and half of the coaches are interns. And this is all voluntary. They are really not obligated to do any of the extracurriculars. They are only obligated to be in our buildings Monday through Thursday. But the majority of them just come on Friday and work anyway. The majority of them are coaches, they're on committees. So most of them just give up their free time because they've built relationships with our students and with parents, and they want to be a part of what we're doing in the district. And then, like I said, the last one, it really has given us, you know, everyone always says, we need more time, we need more time, we need more people. Well, we have that. We've had that for the last 2 years. And so this has really been a huge benefit to us, and I think it's very unique to Parker Road, and I'm really hopeful that we get to continue on with this program in the future. And I'm actually trying to reach out to other universities with UMSL to say, have you thought about this model? I've traveled with them a little bit and done some presentations to some other universities that are looking into this model. Because right now it's just voluntary. The students they can choose to do the normal student teaching, or they can choose this one. So we would like to push it out to more universities because it really is beneficial. So, and I think that's all I have for you, but thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Anybody have any questions?
Did you have the parents stand? I saw.
Oh my gosh, I have a lot. Yeah, if you're Parker Road parents or staff, can you please stand up? I'm sorry. I think I have
Thank you all very much.
I remember my student teaching. It was 7 weeks. Supposed to be 8, but we had spring break in the middle of it, so I lost a week. And it was next door, and my cooperating teacher was Mr. Criley, who went on to be the principal next door. And he was also the baseball coach at that time, and I student taught in the spring. And so he was gone a lot, so I got to class, and And it was fun. I enjoyed it. So, but it's much shorter than they get now, that's for sure.
So at this time, I'm going to ask Dr. Ice from Robinwood School to come up, please. Can we give her a round of applause?
Good evening, President and board members and everyone that's here this evening. I'd like to just take an opportunity to share one of the unique programs that we have at Robinwood Elementary School. It is a science club where we have kindergarten through 3rd grade. Students are invited to participate in experiential learning through science. So we try to entice them and build those foundational skills in science by asking those questions about, students are always excited about science and chemistry and how things explode, building things, changing matter, and of course, eating, which sometimes they do get an opportunity to do as well. During this opportunity, we have teachers that are working with small groups of children, individual children. It's completely voluntary, and they focus on chemistry, physics, animal adaptations, science-related jobs, and much more, to include health-related opportunities. The goal of the Science Club is to basically have fun while learning. We know that science can be tedious. It's one of those areas where some students don't want to be involved in, but we also know that it's important to build those foundational skills by the time they get to 5th grade with MAP testing. With science, it is similar to a spiral. So if a student does not receive some of the skills that they need in kindergarten and 1st grade, by the time they get to 4th and 5th grade, they're not going to review those skills. If they lose them, they're not going to be able to have them again. So what we're trying to do at Robinwood is to develop that love of learning, that unique problem solving, the chemistry of learning, not just the chemistry of science, but just what it takes to be involved in learning and making it fun. If you look in this picture, we have one teacher up at the right corner. Students get hands-on experience with, in this particular case, they were working on gas expansion. They were learning on how it takes shape, form. In the bottom picture, students were able to use scientific tools for measurement. A lot of times, what I learned in the classroom, science was one of those areas that was pushed to the side, and the focus was on reading and mathematics. This is an opportunity for students to know that science really is important in everyday life. We deal with science every day in the kitchen, outside in the yard if we're gardening, if we're going floating or camping on the river. Those are all areas in which students can experience science. We have volunteer teachers, but we also have students that help with this. We have 2 6th grade students that come and help with the teaching of the lessons. It is a special Wednesday within each quarter where students come and participate. We have about 106 kids, and we have about 400 students at Robinwood. So that was about 1/3 of our primary students that were participating in the Science Club. It's in its 3rd year. And we're hoping that next year we can expand not only quarterly, but we can do that on a monthly basis. The health component of this program was also crucial. We kind of benefited with working with our PE teacher as well. Students practiced learning how to work on their heart rates, how to get their heart rates up. They explored science and content areas, jobs. The activities were were designed to build knowledge of science, to build on those skills of what it actually means to have like a science job. If it's nursing or being a doctor, if it's a health professional or occupational therapist, focusing on those areas. Students enjoyed it at many times because it was fun, and they also got to do some activities with chemistry where they made ice cream, where they were able to go outside and participate in the activities. So our goal at Robinwood with this science club is to show that science is fun. I love science as a classroom teacher. We've really focused at Robinwood providing those experiential activities as opposed to just gaining knowledge from a textbook. because we know that looking at or reading a science experiment in a textbook is a lot different than pulling out those materials and actually having students work with those materials, you know, hand in hand with the instruction. So not only is science fun, we said it's sometimes yummy, and it's a great program, and we're hoping that we can get more students involved and continue with that. I'm sorry?
Do you have any teachers present?
I don't think this evening. I know I have one parent and student back here. I have a coworker that's here. Our new board members also affiliate with Robinwood.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ice. And now I'm going to ask Mrs. Crystal Isom Adu to come up. I always want to call you Ice and her Ice. All right. This is one of our newest principals this year. This is her first year in Ferguson-Florissant School District, and she has contributed quite significantly in this short time that she's been with us.
Before I begin, if I could have a little audience participation, because at Central, which is a special place, we start our faculty meetings in a special way, and our, not faculty meetings, but usually our school-wide assemblies, they're looking like, oh God, Crystal, what are you going to do? And it's, when I say Central, you say stars. When I say academic, you say excellence. Central. Stars. Central. Stars. Central. Stars. Academic. Excellence. Academic. Excellence. Academic. Excellence. Central. Stars. Academic. Excellence. I'd like for Central staff and people associated with Central to please rise. Christina and Patty, I thank you for your service, for your commitment. I thank you for your extended hours. They've been working on Saturdays. They've come in on spring break. They have worked beyond anything I've ever seen because their heart and their passion is at Central, and I'm glad to be a part of the Central family and the Central team. We are so proud of all the great initiatives that we've had at Central. We have been so fortunate to just excel in so many areas. We have really focused on guided reading, which I'm proud to announce that we are actually leading the district in guided reading. Guided reading is a strategic way of grouping students and providing differentiated instruction to students in various levels. These teachers were trained in November and they implemented the guided reading method in December, and we have seen students who have grown more than 2 to 3 years within a 4-month span of time. Ooh. So fortunately, the district is moving in Central's direction, and they are training all of their teachers, elementary and all 16 other buildings, in guided reading. And we are fortunately leading the way and hopefully going to provide support and guidance to the rest of the schools in the district. We have 62 iPads in our building, which we are able to really engage the students in various media, and also utilize MyOn, which is a program that offers level text for students, so it supports the guided reading initiative, and it also gives students thousands of choices. We are actually ranked #1 in the district, and I'm proud to say that, and proud of our staff and proud of our students. We're ranked #1 with reading over 6,999 books in a population of 300 students. We have over 6,000 AR points where the students have not only read the books and completed MyOn comprehension question tests through that package, they have also taken AR assessments, and they are just rocking it. Our Patty Payton, who's our reading specialist, has conversed with over 250 students, providing individualized instruction and really skillfully guiding our students into what's appropriate, what's the best book, and just really pushing our students forward. And we're so proud. And if I may digress, I am a proud mom of Central School. I just want to
highlight a little video, a little clip. Bear with me, because I'm a proud mom. If you could help me access that deadline page. Sorry guys, I know I only have 3 to 5 minutes, but I just have to have you all see this, because Central was ranked nowhere in the Scholar Bowl, but now we're number 2 in the district for championship Scholar Bowl. You just scroll down. Right there, second page, right there on the left, you'll see second place Scholar Bowl champions. And when we were announced, not only did I embarrass my students and staff, but we just relished in the victory because it's so sweet. Second place, honor of us, right up there. Thank you so much. No, right up there. Yes, so if you all could just experience that with me again and just really appreciate from not being ranked to being number 2 in the district for academic excellence, that would be great. It may not have sound, but believe me, I am screaming. Our students are screaming. Dr. Diggs is like, calm down. You are the principal. And we are that's just one of the snippets of the many wonderful things that are happening at Central. We are so proud of our students. We're so proud of our parents. And we're so proud of our community partners. Central has been so fortunate to tap into community partners in a stage of budget deficits and crisis is coming. We all are strapped for cash. Well, we have garnered more than $15,000 worth of donations and in-kind services, and we are so grateful for AAA, St. Louis Cardinals. Gosh, if I get back to that, Desley Foundation. Our entire school is going to go and experience a performance that, because I was a novice and didn't know that I was supposed to apply for a small amount, they agreed to have all 300 students tomorrow to go to the Sheldon Center and do a special performance just for Central. So I'm so grateful that we have garnered support from the various agencies. I want to give them credit. And I'll probably show them. Yeah, previous. Thank you. So, Butterfly House, Metamorphic Math, World Verse Sanctuaries, Curves, Kappa Kappa Gamma, Kiwanis Club, Jewish Women's Leagues, Wellspring Church, the Challenger Center. We have been so blessed, so fortunate to just be welcomed by the community, welcomed by the parents and students. Last night, we had Sam's associates out and about. I mean, oh my gosh, 7 employees that they hired to work our event. We had more than 300 parents and students, and it was just an amazing time. We are just so grateful for the support of the board. We're so grateful for our Central family. We are so grateful for Dr. Diggs and Dr. Bland's leadership, and we know without a shadow of doubt that our future is even brighter. Thank you.
She was new, but I did not share with you that she's definitely not shy of the microphone. Thank you all. I want to also say to those principals, Mrs. Poole, Mrs. Isom, Adu, and Dr. Ice, thank you all so much for coming out this evening. I also want to share we have had very good attendance. For our first week of MAP testing was this week with 5th grade science. So thank you parents for making sure your students come to school. All we ask is that you send them well prepared with the most positive attitude that they could possibly have. And we'll do the rest. So thank you all so much. If we can give our parents and students a round.
Thank you all so much for
Thank you.
having us this evening.
Thank you. I've had a request for about a 5-minute break, so if you'd like to be back here in about 5 minutes, we will resume. start again, Liz?
I mean, that was
Go ahead and have a seat. We freed up a few seats so we don't have to stand in the hallway anymore, hopefully.
Well, I want to thank the board for letting me present the annual board report on Black History and Women's History Month. I sent you a list of 14 pages of what I received from schools of the different activities they participated in. That list is not exhaustive though. I pared it down for readability reasons and to give you a flavor of what takes place. All 24 schools sent a list of activities, and it's impressive to see the creative ideas and lessons that Ferguson-Florissant teachers and buildings support during those 2 months. Certainly can't highlight all of those, but I would like to highlight a few of those events. Both months provided academic focus, and give you an example of that. At Griffith School, during Black History Month, they had a writing contest in which students at the whole school answered this question. In your opinion, what African American figure has been the biggest game changer? How have they impacted our lives the most? So they wrote a persuasive essay. Students from Lee Hamilton researched African Americans involved in STEM-related fields. At Mark Twain, they held an oratory contest, and at Wedgwood, like many other schools, had African American read-ins. In the community engagement piece, 2 schools, there were many schools, but the 2 that I'll mention, Central and Robinwood, and then the 3 middle schools held history celebrations during their Hoffa night, and each had over 200 people in attendance. So there is a great community engagement piece. And for the school climate focus, Parker Road had, at every grade level, had in every classroom, had art rooms decorating their doors with information about different African Americans and women of their choice. And teachers then took the students on a tour of the building to view each door. Students had to take notes and write reports based on what they learned on the doors. So in McClure North, there was video interviews on the Star News that highlighted community members speaking keys to success. And at MSP, JAG students produced a musical play for the student body. The play was produced and researched and conducted by that class for the whole school. So in summary, Black History and Women's History Month celebrations continue to be widely supported through Ferguson-Florissant, and 2014 was no exception. Do you have any questions?
I move we accept the report.
Second.
Been moved by Ms. Hogshead and seconded by Mr. Ebert to accept the report on Black History Month. Any discussion?
It sounds like a lot of wonderful things were done throughout the district, overall Black history and women in history. So thank you for your efforts as well as all the rest of the district teachers.
Seeing no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Morris. Mr. Hadley, Science Inquiry Kits.
Good evening. Since 25% of the 5th grade science math is science inquiry, teachers have asked for science inquiry supplemental materials. The MySci activities have hands-on activities that teachers can easily implement with the current science curriculum. The activities are engaging and support Common Core through reading and writing as well. By providing supplemental materials of equipment and inquiry activities for 4th and 5th grade classrooms, MySci units and activities can enhance our current curriculum and enrich the students' science experience to improve their math scores. 3 units for each grade level of 4th grade and 5th grade, as well as professional development, are included for each of the units to ensure successful implementation. It costs us $48,400 from the Title I funding source.
I move we accept.
Second.
Been moved by Ms. Hogshead and seconded by Mr. Brown to accept the Science Inquiry Kit. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. And good luck with the STEM Expo coming up. Let's give it
Thank
one
you.
more plug. It's when? Next Tuesday?
Tuesday from 5 to 7 at McClure High School.
There you go. I will be there.
All right.
Level Learning Libraries. Dr. Bland? Dr. Hughes? Dr. Winkles?
So I just would like to first say that Dr. Winkles and I have worked extremely hard with the coordinators to create a plan and supports for our teachers as we work to differentiate and meet kids where they are. And so a big piece of that is our balanced literacy framework that we'll be working with them during the 2014-15 school year. We've started some of that work this year also. But a big piece of that implementation would be our level libraries. And so at this time I'm going to ask Dr. Winkles to share more information about those.
Good evening, members of the board. We're asking today for you to approve the purchase of level reading books for all 17 elementary schools. Those books will allow teachers to give assessments and then use assessment results to match kids' reading levels to books right at their level. Currently, we have a basal that was adopted about 2003 and is written at each respective grade level. So a student that is reading above grade level, it's not challenging enough. A student reading far below grade level is too difficult. So this would give us the opportunity to have a multitude of levels of books in our schools to match all the levels of the students that we have in our buildings. This has gone through the CAC process for approval, and we're asking for Title I funds to purchase those books for all schools.
I move we purchase the level libraries.
Second.
Been moved by Mrs. Hogshead, seconded by Mr. Schrader. Any discussion on level libraries?
A little bit tangential, and don't, this isn't directed at you in any way, Dr. Winkles. Raise your hand if you know what a basal is. 3 years, I'm not quite sure if I So, but as I'm getting out of here, and I'll be sitting in that area more often, just help me remind everyone that if we can stay away from the industry terms from time to time. So far we've had PBIS, you know PBIS? That one's a little bit, O week. It's not when you go to Orlando. O stands for orientation, right? Yeah? Okay, good. So anyway, just a reminder, just a gentle reminder, if we can make sure that we're including everyone in our language. Yes, you can make pesto out of basil. Yeah.
Basil's having to be set in roles in schools and read in its book with short stories, anthologies. Any of you all? Okay, those are basics.
Any further discussion on level libraries?
Thank you all so much. We really appreciate this.
No, not yet. I'm just asking if there's any further discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All the same sign.
You said yes, right?
You said yes. All right. Item number 14, fifth grade math supplemental materials.
The math supplemental material, Common Core Coach and Performance Coach, is informative, comprehensive, and will serve perfectly as an instructional base throughout the school year. The Common Core Coach and Performance Coach material is designed to be totally flexible, and the series can be used in partnership with the core text to add depth, understanding, and practice at different stages of instruction. The standards of mathematical practice are integrated throughout the curriculum to ensure the development of mathematical proficiency for students. Common Core Coach covers the 5 domains identified by the Common Core state standards for each grade. Domain progressions are displayed for each domain, providing a clear visual roadmap of how new content builds upon content from previous grade levels. The domains and connects to future domains. The cost is $36,500 for the Title I funding source.
Move we accept and purchase the materials.
Second. Been moved by Mrs. Hogshead and seconded by the math teacher, Mr. Schroeder. surprised you didn't jump in on that one first. Any discussion?
Now, one thing I'd like to point out, especially with our comments about budgets, almost all of these are Title I funding sources, which are federal dollars. We want to spend them carefully and well, but they're not local money, and if we don't spend them, it just goes away. And so it sounds like we're spending lots and lots of money here, which we are, but it's coming out of federal funding sources that has to be spent or you don't get it at all. So we might as well take advantage of what's available to us.
Right. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of fifth grade math supplemental materials, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. You got supplemental materials. Mr. Forbes, nonfiction level reader bundles for social studies.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, this is the first time that, in my memory, that level in Title I funds will be used for social studies. So if it's approved, of course, I would be quite thankful if that happens. So with the movement towards Common Core state standards, all grades will need to have an increased emphasis on nonfiction literacy skills. Due to budget restraints the last few years, we haven't purchased K through 3 social studies materials since 2002. This purchase, if approved, will help fill this need by giving all 17 schools leveled nonfiction books consisting of social studies, and there are some science books in this nonfiction level reading. So the books are supplemental in nature, and each title contains 6 books for small group work. The enhanced level reader bundles provide cross-disciplinary resources encouraged by the Common Core standards. Do you have a question?
I move that we purchase the books.
I second.
Been moved by Mrs. Hogshead and seconded by Mr. Chabot that we accept the non-fiction level reader bundles for social studies. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. There you go. You got your approval.
Thank you.
How's that? Mr. Beal, Student Code of Conduct.
Good evening, Board and Ferguson-Florissant family. Today, just like to publicly thank the Students Expectation Committee for all the work that they did and their work on the Student Code of Conduct. And
I guess we have to, I move that we accept, and then we can ask questions.
Second.
Been moved by Mrs. Hogshead and seconded by Mr. Ebert to accept the Student Code of Conduct. So second reading. Is there any discussion?
And this really isn't, it's not a question as much as one of the sessions that I was at for negotiations, they talked about discipline. It's very important, and I'm hoping that we work with the teachers, work with the students to really get the students to understand that we are following the discipline codes and that we are going to take it to the hill with them. And get the parents to understand. You know, we had a hearing on a student, and they didn't understand that we are going to follow this code of conduct. So I'm hoping that something will be worked out, Mr. LaRue, with the NEA, with the parents, with the students, that they're going to understand that we definitely are going to follow the student code of conduct. So discipline is going to be very important, and that will help all of our students learn and understand.
totally agree.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion on the Student Code of Conduct? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Great. Thank you, Mr. Mills. Ms. Madrusik and Mr. O'Neill. Talk about the capital bond budget for 2014-15.
Good evening, Board, members of the community. Administration is presenting the bond budget for the 14-15 school year to the Board for approval at this time in order to allow the Facilities Department to begin scheduling their projects that they need to do over the summer. Mr. O'Neill will give a brief overview of the budget and answer any of your questions.
Good evening. You should all have a copy of the bond budget page. In there, as it has been for the last several years, you'll see the 6 categories, each one assigned an amount of funds to cover the projects under each one of those categories. The total budget for the 14-15 year is $6,035,000, which is the balance in the bond budget at this time.
So I need a motion.
I do.
Approved.
Been moved by Mr. Schrader and second by Mrs. Saxon to approve the capital bond budget for 2014-15. Any discussion?
Just to follow your comment, this is the remainder of the money.
Yes, sir.
We're down to zero after this.
It's our last year.
I mean, I'm assuming we're going to have to do something about that also.
I hope so.
Okay. And I'd like to give hats off to Ms. Madruzik with what she's done this spring of explaining the budget and the budgeting process to our staff. I know today, I believe you're over transportation. She's been to, I guess, every building, and I think it helps everybody when you really understand the severity of what we're looking at. People have been very, very cooperative and very understanding that, you know, we have to do something. And what we all pull together when we have to do something, then we're going to make it happen. But it's not going to happen if we keep fighting with each other. And so I'm really pleased to see what's going on with negotiations. I'm really pleased to see how this budgeting process has been going. And hats off to you.
Thank you.
My kudos to you too on making, and I think it really, really helped with negotiations and made that a much smoother process. The communication and the information you provided to all stakeholders here has just really been super. And thank you very much.
Well, and in addition to the information being shared with the staff, I think it's been really critical and important that that the general public has had an opportunity to participate not just in strategic planning, but in the financial portions of that. And those who have been motivated and available have been able to participate in stuff like that. So look forward to seeing that sort of transparency and openness and collaboration continue. It's great.
It's been awesome this year. Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval of the capital bond budget for 2014-15, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Suggestions and/or questions. A maximum of 15 minutes is provided. 15 minutes is provided for suggestions and/or questions from members of the audience. Members of the audience who wish to speak to the board are requested to speak from the podium, identify themselves, and limit their remarks to 3 minutes. In keeping with District Policy 4059 and personnel law, speakers should refrain from making negative comments that are personally identifiable. To comply with Missouri Sunshine Law and District Policy 4054 and 4059, board members will not respond to comments made during the public comment period. The subject of public comments will be noted in the minutes and appropriately addressed by the district. Is there anyone wishing to speak tonight? Please come on.
Hi, my name is Doris Condor. I'm a parent representative of our fine students here at Celebrate Children. Okay, usually we're here to ask you for money, right? Not tonight. We have a way we're going to save money with grants. We have a local business who's willing to help with money, as well as us becoming a booster club through Ferguson-Florissant School District. We've talked to several of the students who have an invitation to invite you, as of the board and the parents, to come see us perform. We have tickets for each and every one of you, and students who'd like to talk. Okay?
Thank you.
I'm Tony, whoever. And you next.
Hello, my name is Blake Hammond and I'm a 7th grader from Cross Keys Middle School. Celebrate Children has never really been about learning to dance or perform. It has, however, always been about teaching us children to believe in ourselves and to realize in our hearts that working hard and striving for excellence, there's nothing we can't do. Performing makes it real. My dream isn't over. By supporting this performing arts program, imagine what more can be done in the hearts and minds of all the children of the Ferguson-Florissant School District. Thank you.
Hi. My name is Monte James. I go to Ferguson, and I would like to say that Celebrate Children is just not about dancing. It's about what he said, believing in yourself and do what you want to do. And the teachers there and Miss Anderson all make us feel like that we're ourselves. Celebrate Children is not just about the dancing. It's about the show and making you feel like you're yourself and make you feel accepted by the other students and staff at your school and other schools.
Hi, my name is Galen, and that Celebrate Children has been a huge experience for me, and this is my second year doing it, and I have made lots of friends doing this show, and so I have really been happy and I feel included, and so yeah, it makes you have more friends, and if you don't feel accepted in school, you can feel accepted in this program because it is very, very nice to be in. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Archilla Buford. Can you all hear me? Yes. Okay. All right. Great. Sorry I was late this evening. Had a lot of responsibilities to take care of. Yesterday, I took a break from the polls in order to attend one of my children's individual educational planning meetings. At a certain point in the meeting, there was discussion about my child's strengths and positive attributes, to which one of his instructional teachers stated, for an African American child, the student carries themselves well, unlike their peers who wear sagging pants and tries to fit in with the trends. The teacher went on to say, how unlike their peers, my child seemed to be comfortable with who they are. It would not surprise me if a number of individuals in this very room failed to recognize how inappropriate, culturally insensitive, and insulting these statements are. When I brought the matter to a person of authority, which like the teacher also happened to be white, they confidently expressed how they felt this was a well-meaning teacher who was only trying to pay my son a compliment. And although this very well may be true, it prompted me to wonder the following. If this is what a well-meaning teacher is communicating to my child, who, by the way, was present, then what are the non-well-meaning teachers and administrators communicating directly and indirectly to our children? At what point will the effects of one's actions garner more attention than one's possible intentions? I also thought, why is the immediate response always to delegitimize the experiences of some, while at the same time always defending, rationalizing, and downplaying a well-established culture and environment that continues to eradicate the self-esteem of the very individuals we have entrusted to our educators to develop and educate using our hard-earned tax money? I don't know about you, But I wouldn't find it flattering in the least bit if someone attempted to compliment my intelligence by saying, for an African American woman, you sure are intelligent. Or if someone said to my daughter, for a girl, you sure are smart. Or if someone attempted to compliment a homosexual student by saying, for a homosexual, you sure are athletic. This incident is just another example of the war against ignorance that Dr. McCoy spoke of. This is precisely why more effective, culturally sensitive training is needed throughout this district. As I prepare to take my seat, let me take this moment, and I mean this sincerely, to applaud the efforts of all the individuals, including the incumbent board members, for subjecting themselves and their families to what I know was a grueling campaign. And to the members of the board, whom the people of Ferguson and Florissant have chosen to re-elect, I leave you with this challenge. I pray that you will prove me and the thousands of individuals who didn't vote for you, okay? Prove us wrong. That really is my prayer. However, I have lived long enough to know time tends to often tell all. So once again, for the sake of all of our children and this entire community, I want nothing more than for you to prove me wrong. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak this evening.
Hi, is this on? I'm Dr. Cassandra Butler. I had some prepared statements, but changing them up, and actually with Ms. Buford said, piggyback, well, how I want to change it. I didn't make last meeting, so I watched the film this afternoon. And as I listened to this meeting this evening, I want to go back to something that Mr. Schrader said about board training. I really think you really need to consider attending board association meetings, because I really do think this group can really benefit from further training. And basically, what I sensed just even in the meeting this evening was the need for cultural training. And I say that because when I listened to last month's meeting and the emphasis that was placed on expulsion and discipline, and then when I hear this evening, the saying, we are serious, we are going to expel people. And I understood even before then, when I heard code words like, we need to create a learning environment and coding it with discipline, that I understood what was being said. And last week, there was a national report that was released talking about the discipline gap between African Americans and whites and Hispanics is huge. And as my board members talk about, there's not enough discipline, and we all understand the code that you're using, because we understand when you suspended Dr. McCoy, that you didn't anticipate that some of your constituents or some of the citizens in the district would find that this
Appalling.
yes, appalling, because you don't know us. But there are some pockets of people, and I want to say, maybe the people who are in your social network, who are also white, they're right with you, but they don't understand. So there's things like even the things that are talked about right now about prison, school to prison pipeline. You don't understand how the things that you're talking about, discipline-wise, and no tolerance, and we mean it this time, how that feeds into that discipline gap and the prison's pipeline. So I really do want you to reconsider that component about board training, because I think you could really benefit from that. Thank you.
Okay, well, I talk louder anyway. Okay, well, first of all, hi, I'm Kim Benz, and I'm back. This time, I proudly come to you, not as a candidate anymore, but as a parent and a proud Parker Road parent. Christy, you did an awesome presentation tonight, and I just want to let you guys know that I've seen the work that the interns do within our school, and they are amazing. And I hope that we can reach out to other universities or even expand the program through UMSL and bring that to other elementary schools in the district, because they have been a huge asset to our school. Otherwise, I wanted to also point out the fact that Celebrate Children is reaching out to find ways to have businesses help with funding. We can have more programs that do that, even our sports programs and stuff. Before we start making cuts, we need to reach out to McClure North, reach out to Peroni's and say, hey, will you sponsor our baseball team? Stuff like that, because the community will respond if we ask them. So anyway, so those were just the two things that I just wanted to point out. And she had left, but the principal at Central is just so electrifying. So I thought that she gave an awesome presentation, and Robin Wood was great also. So we have awesome things going on in our district. Congratulations, Mr. Morris. Congratulations, Mr. Chabot. Mr. Martinez, you'll be sitting out here with me next month. And Donna, Dr. Thurman, it has been a pleasure. Congratulations. It has been a pleasure running with all of you guys, and congratulations.
This will be our last speaker. This will be our last speaker tonight.
First and foremost, I'd like to just thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. At first, I wasn't going to speak, but after getting up and hearing everyone just talk and speak their words, I just feel honored just to be here and to drive here physically today. As some of you may know, throughout this whole process, when this thing first occurred in November, I was very sick, but very ill in the hospital. I have a disease that's called lupus. It's an autoimmune disease, and I also have a seizure disorder. I wasn't able to drive for 6 months, and I lost all hope, and I was just down on myself. And then the situation occurred with Dr. McCoy, and it gave me a will to fight again for something that I believed in, because my children are in this district. And even though there was a negative outcome of people coming out and were fighting, it still gave me focus and purpose to want to fight and advocate for the rights of my children. And I actually want to thank you for listening to me, for Kristen particularly for communicating with me. I appreciate that. For Mr. Morris for communicating with me, because I think as the board of directors, it's important to know that you're serving the community. And even though we didn't always agree, you still took the time to come up to respond to my request, and I appreciate that. And when I talked to you about extending out to parents the opportunity to participate in focus groups for strategic planning, I really appreciated that opportunity, and I'm glad and honored to serve along with Kimberly Benz and some of the other parents, Archilla Buford, on that committee. And what I came here today is, please don't allow that strategic plan just to sit on the shelf. Please continue to engage us, because I really want to be engaged in this process. Like I said, it gave me purpose at that time. I was at a point in my life where I felt sorry for myself because I thought I'm a young parent, why am I going through this? But it made me focus at this level. I always was active in my children's life and proud of their achievements and their education, but never at this level. And it gave me the will and the desire to want to do more. So to all of you board members, I just want to encourage you to please use your parents as a resource, and we can help. And just don't take us for granted. There's an opportunity to do outreach with these parents that you have in this community right here today. Thank you so much.
Well, I want to say thank you. It has been my honor for the last 2 years to sit here as board president and conduct these meetings. Tonight will be my last time as president for a while, so I want to thank the board for allowing me to do this. And I've truly served at your request, and it's been an honor for me to do that. I just want to say thank you. And thank you again, Chris, for all
Yes, sir.
your efforts over the past 3 years. I couldn't have done it without you. So. All right, I need a motion to adjourn to executive session. Been moved by Mrs. Hogshead and seconded by Mr. Martinez. Mr. Chabot.
Mr. Reaver.
Aye.
Mr. Brown. Aye. Mr. Schrader.
Aye.
Mrs. Hogshead.
Aye.
Victor votes aye. Mr. Martinez.
Aye.
And Mr. Morris.
All right. Thank you for coming tonight.
Stay